folks, welcome back to another episode of our Thanksgiving extravaganza. Guys, today we are finally making our turkey. Yes, it is Turkey Day. We're going to be putting that together, and it's going to be super simple, no fuss, no muss, just in the oven, a lot of butter, some different herbs and aromatics, and of course a lot of salt and pepper. Now guys, if you're enjoying any of the content on the channel, or if you're enjoying this Thanksgiving special, guys, please feel free to hit like, subscribe, or that little dinner bell thingy down at the bottom so you can know when the next video hits the old YouTube universe. So with that, let's make some turkey. Oh, and before that, B-roll.
Perfect.
Alright folks, with that succulent B-roll out of the way, it is time to get to our ingredients. Now, not surprisingly, we're going to start with our turkey. Now this bad boy weighs in at about 13 pounds, which isn't the biggest turkey you'll ever find, but one thing you will notice is that the skin looks a little bit pink or red. Now that is because I actually put this in the fridge to dry brine for about 2 to 3 days. That is 48 to 72 hours uncovered in the fridge. So what you'll see is a very kind of taut skin. It's very dry, and this will make for a very, very crispy skin when we're done cooking. Now, I want to say that this step is optional, but honestly, guys, if you want to have a good, crisp turkey skin, it's basically mandatory. So try to at least go for 12 hours if you can, or 24 ideally. 72 is probably the max. I just did that because it was what I thought would be most convenient. But as you can see, we have a nice, beautiful, dry bird. Oh, and I realize a lot of people do usually truss their bird. This just kind of came with the legs tucked under like this, and I was kind of too lazy to do any trussing, so we're going to keep it the way it is. Now, moving on to the rest of our ingredients, you will need 2 of your largest, most beautiful carrots, and yes, they are beautiful. Don't let anyone tell you otherwise. To your beautiful carrots, you'll be adding some celery. Now, you can use 5 or 6 stalks here, or the whole thing, depending what you want. You'll also want to grab yourself 2 medium-sized white onions, followed by some fresh garlic. Now, I'm going to use the whole head here, but you can use about 4 or 5 cloves if you like. Next, you want to grab yourself some fresh rosemary. This is about 2 tablespoons, and if you only have dry, that's fine, but do try to find it fresh. And speaking of fresh, you'll also want to grab yourself about 7 or 8 fresh leaves of sage. Next, you're going to want to grab your secret weapon, and that is going to be 1 cup of salted butter. You could use unsalted if you want, but you'll just have to get a bit more salt on the bird as needed. Alright, so that covers all of our ingredients. It's pretty simple, guys. Now, you'll also want to grab yourself some salt and some pepper just for seasoning the outside. But other than that, guys, let's get to the rest of our prep. So to start, grab your rosemary and just dump that on your workstation, and just go ahead and give it a quick chop. You're looking for a rough cut, something that looks a little bit like this. Next, grab your sage and give that a quick run through with the knife. It should be pretty thin already, but you're going to go ahead and pass through again because you want a fairly thin dice. With the sage diced up, it is time to grab your garlic. So go ahead and grab yourself a couple cloves, just give that a quick smash, and grab your garlic press here and just throw those in. Now again, you can use a bit more garlic if you want. It's really up to you. I only used about 3 or 4 cloves here, but realistically I could have used more. In any case, add that garlic to your mixture of herbs, because now we have the makings of our compound butter, which is going to be spread all over our bird. So go ahead and grab yourself a pan, dump all of your aromatics in said pan, and then go ahead and add a little bit of olive oil before throwing in a good knob of butter. Now the oil is simply to prevent some of this from burning, but again guys, this is going to go on a pan on low to medium heat just to begin to melt down and become really aromatic. While that's slowly melting on the stove, it's time to prep the rest of our ingredients. So go ahead and grab yourself an onion, chop that in half, and then just give this a rough chop. Again, nothing special here guys, this is going to go in the bottom of our roasting tray, so any cuts will do. With your onion all cut up, it is time to move to your beautiful carrot. So go ahead and grab that and give this a couple of quick slices. And there's no need to peel this because it is going in the bottom of our roasting pan. With that done, it's time to grab 3 or 4 stalks of your celery, or more depending how big your bird is and how big your roasting tray is, but go ahead and cut this into 1/2 inch to 1 inch pieces. Again, something that looks a little bit like this. So go ahead and move this to the side and grab yourself your roasting tray. And would it really be Thanksgiving if it wasn't in an aluminum tray? I mean, come on. In any case, toss your vegetable medley into the pan, and this is going to form a nice layer for your turkey to sit on since we don't have a traditional roasting pan. So go ahead and move that to the side because it's time to check on our roasting butter, and it's looking pretty good. So grab a bowl, throw in your cup of salted butter, removing any tinfoil, of course, before bringing over your aromatic mixture. Now, it's a good idea to let this cool a little bit, but it's not really necessary, so just go ahead and dump that over top. And go ahead and begin the wonderful process of mixing this together. Now, if you're not looking for a forearm workout, I do recommend that you actually have this butter at room temperature. With your compound butter all mixed up, you should have something that looks a little bit like this. So now, it's time to grab our bird. Now, importantly, what we're going to try to do here, guys, is separate the breast meat from the skin. So as you can see, we can get our fingers underneath and just run them down the side of the breast. Now, because this has been sort of dry brining for about 72 hours, the skin's rather taut, so that's okay. Just take your time, guys. Do not tear that skin. Patience will save you here. I promise it is worth it. Just run your hands down there. You could use a tool or a utensil of some kind, but your hands are really the best thing for this. And just try to run down all the length of the breast. With the skin separated, you should have a nice pocket here for all of our butter, and you can see that we have a very lean turkey breast that's going to be very thankful for all of that wonderful fat we're about to introduce. And speaking of fat, we're going to go ahead and grab our compound butter and just put a good dollop with our hands under the skin here, and we're just going to run it down the sides of the turkey breast. Now, you can put a little bit in, just a ball, and run it down, but I was willing to get messy and just kind of get in there. Once you have the underside of each turkey breast covered with butter, it is time to cover the rest of our bird in our mixture. So go ahead and get every single inch of that skin covered with your compound butter, guys. This is going to go a long way in adding a ton of flavor. It's a bit of a messy process, but don't worry, management is here to inspect our work. After passing our quality check, it's time to salt our bird, and you're going to want to be pretty generous here. Now, I know this is salted butter, guys, but again, this is going to be cooking for a long time, and it's a big bird, so be generous with the salt and with the pepper. Now, with our butter and seasoning in place, we've got one last thing to do, and that is to stuff our bird. So go ahead and grab yourself some sages and just tuck those right in. To that, you'll add your head of garlic cut in half. There we go. Followed by 1 or 2 sprigs of rosemary. So there we go, our bird is ready, so just go ahead and move this to the side and grab your roasting pan. And just make sure you have a firm grip on this very slippery bird, gently lay it down, and there you go, guys. This bad boy is ready for the oven. And this will be in the oven at 325 degrees for about 3.5 hours, or about 15 minutes per pound.
A few moments later.
So with the magic of editing, 3.5 hours have passed, and look at this bird. It is golden brown, the skin is super crispy, and you can see all those beautiful juices sitting at the bottom of the pan. And we need to get to those juices, so we're gonna have to remove this turkey real quick and just pop this into a tray where it sort of fits. And just be careful again, guys, make sure it's tucked in. But look at this, guys, it looks amazing. I cannot wait to dig in, but we have a few more steps to do, and that is making our gravy. But I mean, before that, let me give you a quick close-up, because I mean, guys, this thing is going to absolutely blow your mind. It is so delicious. All right, with the turkey photo shoot out of the way, let's get to the gravy. So go ahead and grab yourself a nice cast iron pan or a saucepan, depending on what you want. Grab a strainer and go ahead and dump the contents of your roasting tray into the strainer. Now, I know some people have sometimes blend this up and then run it through a strainer, but I'm not that interested in doing that. We're gonna keep this nice and simple. So give that a quick shake, and you're gonna notice that the color here is a little bit on the yellow side. That is okay, guys. Once we start roasting this down, we can actually add some different ingredients to give it a bit more color. But the first thing we're gonna do is make a cornstarch slurry to get this a little bit thicker. So I'd about a tablespoon of your cornstarch to about a tablespoon or 2 of water. Give it a quick mix, and you should have something that looks a little bit like this. The next thing you're want to do is grab yourself about 2 cups of stock. You may not use all of this, but you could also use beef stock if you want a darker color. In any case, we'll be adding this once this starts to cook down. So with that said, it is time to move to our stove and make some gravy. So on medium-high heat, you're going to let this get to a boil. Give this a quick stir before we add some of our stock. Again, you're not going to need to add all this. I'm adding about a cup here, and you can kind of eyeball this depending on how thick or how thin you want it. But in any case, let this get up to a boil yet again before adding your cornstarch slurry. Now, you could let this reduce a lot and then add the slurry, but I want a lot of gravy, so we're going to go ahead and give this a quick whisk and keep letting this simmer down until it thickens. After about 15 or 20 minutes, you should have something that looks like this. Thick, bubbly, and just full of turkey flavor. So all that's left now is to transfer our gravy into a serving dish. In this case, all I have is a measuring cup, but that's fine. Just go ahead and pour the contents of your pan into your measuring cup. And look at that, it all just fits magically. That was a close call, but that's fine. We have 2 cups of gravy, which is a ton. And yeah, just be really careful with this. We're gonna have to probably move this over to something else. Well, this has a ton of flavor, guys. As you can see, the color and thickness are pretty good. And again, you could reduce this more. You could add beef stock. You could do all kinds of things. Just do it to taste, but use the drippings from your pan, and you will have an amazing gravy to go with that turkey. Now keep in mind, folks, this video is heavily edited. The total prep and cook time is about 5 hours and 15 minutes, but I promise you it will be worth it. So there we go, folks. There is our Thanksgiving roast turkey done, along with a wonderful side of very delicious gravy that I promise you will be an absolute hit at your Thanksgiving dinner. So with that, we're done. Thanks so much for watching till the end, guys. Happy Thanksgiving to you and your family. And as always, thumbs if you liked it, subs if you loved it. We will see you in the next one. Oh, and before you go, here's some bonus footage from the entirety of our Thanksgiving meal. Our mashed potatoes, our cranberry sauce, our roasted carrots, our Brussels sprouts, guys. Everything that you see on this plate is a recipe that you can find on the channel. So if you're looking for some additional recipes for your Thanksgiving meal, please go check these out. I promise you they will not disappoint. So again, happy Thanksgiving to you all, and we'll see you in the next one.